Hey guys, so tonight I just came home from work. It's still nice and sunny outside due to the time change. I'm loving it. I don't like getting up extra early because I'm losing an hour, but still, it's still sunny outside. But I am home and I am going to be making a quick meal tonight. This is going to be some ravioli. So I got this package of Italian sausage ravioli from Sam's Club. It is a double pack, but I'm only going to be cooking half of that pack tonight. And I have 1 pound of ground beef. Usually I get like a big pack of ground beef when I go to Sam's Club and I section it off and put it all in freezer bags. So I use the amount that I only going to need instead of having like that big package of defrosting that. So this is 1 pound. I'm going to be using that for meat sauce. The spaghetti sauce I'm using is Prego. You can use whatever sauce that you normally would use, but I usually buy the Prego brand. I'm going to be adding some bell peppers, some minced garlic, and then putting that ground beef in there. I also use Lipton onion soup when I make my ground beef meat mixture or my meat sauce, and that just gives it like an extra flavor. So you all get to see what I do in the kitchen tonight. Okay, guys, so I have this pot of water that I'm waiting to boil, and I'm going to add the ravioli to that. But in the meantime, I have this pan that's over on the side, waiting for that to heat up, and I'm going to do my meat sauce inside of this. Okay, so I'm going to add this ground beef in here, and I'm going to let that brown. So this is about 1 pound. And it's going to take like about maybe 10 minutes for it to completely brown because it's really not that much ground beef. So some of these pieces are just a little bit frozen because like I said, I had it defrosting in the refrigerator overnight so it can be ready to use now. So I'm going to go ahead and let that brown for about 7 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes. So while this is getting brown, I'm going to add some black pepper, some garlic powder, as well as some seasoning salt. This is probably the only time I really use seasoning salt is if I'm making something with ground beef. Other than that, I'm using some other type of all-purpose seasoning. I've seen some memes that says if you're using seasoning salt, that means you can't cook. I don't think so. It's just whatever you got in the kitchen. So now this is almost brown. I'm going to be adding in some Lipton onion soup mix, as well as some bell peppers and some minced garlic. And I like to add the onion soup mix at this point because I want it to cook down and get as tender as possible. If you're new to this channel, you would learn that the hubby does not like onions. So I have to cook this down so that it's not an overwhelming like onion texture taste. Now as this cooks down and I add the sauce, I won't have to worry about that as much. So now I'm adding the bell peppers. And this is about like half of the bell pepper. If you like to add actual onions, this would be a good time to add that too, but there's rules in this home. So yeah, gonna let that cook down for about 5 minutes before I add the minced garlic. So I've added the minced garlic. We have the bell peppers, we have the onion soup mix in there, and the onion soup mix really does add a lot of flavor. You don't have to do like a lot of salt after you add the sauce because you know you've already added your seasoning salt, your black pepper, the garlic powder while the ground beef was cooking. So with the onion soup mix, it does add a lot of flavor into it, so you don't have to add really much after that. So I'm going to be using Prego. So this is the traditional sauce. This is about 45 ounces, and I'm going to be pouring it in. So that's about 2 pounds of sauce. And I like my stuff kind of sauce heavy, so I'm going to be adding some more. About another half jar worth of sauce. Okay. Mix all of that together and let this simmer. And while this is simmering, I'm going to get the ravioli together. So now this water is boiling, I'm going to be adding in half of that package of Italian sausage ravioli. This is really 1 pound, and it's probably like about maybe 30 shells here. And just add that to the water. Maybe it's less than 30, maybe 20. And this is going to boil for about 4 minutes. At least on the package it says cook 4 minutes and then drain. So we're gonna let this cook for 4 minutes, and then we're gonna add it to the sauce. It's been 4 minutes, and I'm gonna start scooping these out. And yes, the ravioli is definitely done, so we're gonna start adding that to the sauce. That's one thing I like about this, the pre-made pasta shells, because it makes dinner so much quicker. I'm actually going to be done within 30 minutes, which is great because I've had a very long day. So now that that's been added, I'm just going to carefully spoon the sauce over the ravioli pasta shells. First, I thought I added too much sauce, but no, this is perfect. At least for me, it's perfect. I don't want no dry pasta. So now we're gonna let this simmer. I'm cutting the heat up a little bit though. This is like at a medium-low heat. The next thing for me to do is to add some Parmesan cheese. Okay, so I have some Parmesan cheese that I'm going to shake over this, but I also have some mozzarella cheese that I'm going to add on top and let that melt. And this is pre-shredded cheese. So the next thing for me to do is add some Italian seasoning on top. And I'm going to add some crushed red pepper flakes just to give it a little kick. So I've placed that pan of ravioli under the broiler. I have it on high because I want that cheese to brown. And I'm going to have it under the broiler for between 5 to 10 minutes. What I'm doing now is making some green beans. I have diced up some thick cut bacon. It's about 5 slices, and I'm letting that cook. I'm going to drain off this grease before I add the green beans. Okay, we left just a little bit of the bacon fat in there, probably about 2 tablespoons worth. And I'm going to add the green beans. These have been washed off. These green beans have been washed off already, so I'm just going to add them. I'm going to add some minced garlic, like 1 tablespoon worth. And let that simmer for about 5 minutes. Next, I'm going to top this off with some Kinder's, their grilled veggie seasoning. Now I cook this with the bacon, so I don't want to put too much because the bacon has salt in it. I'm just gonna only add just a little bit here. I'm also gonna add some Parmesan cheese as well as some red pepper flakes to top this off, and that's it. Also on the menu, we have some garlic breadsticks. You can get this at any grocery store. Pop it in the oven, 425 degrees, and bake for 6 minutes. And this is the end product. I have taken the ravioli out of the oven and it has finished baking. And the cheese is all melty. And now we can eat. So again, this is just a nice quick meal that you can make when you get off of work. It takes about 30 to 35 minutes to do everything. And you have a nice meal. And for us, we'll have leftovers, so I won't have to cook tomorrow when I finish work. So I hope you all like what I cooked in the kitchen today, and I'll see you guys next time.